inside of me. You better watch out if your enemy's a road ahead, a full prophecy to be the greatest beast the world has ever seen. I feed him every day like the bones clean. I feed him all the hate and he goes mean. He gets caused real big, pissed off quick, and if you cross him, you might drop dead. Metaphorically, of course, settling the score, never getting bored. Loves the blood and gore, always wanting more freedom from the source. They don't really listen until they feel the force of blood in. If you start shit, you be heartless in the darkness. Torn apart quick, you left scars ripped, you be chewed up and discarded. And this world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight for your life and reject it. You better give me space, I'm protective. My adrenaline spikes when I'm threatened. And if you stay in my way, I'm aggressive. Cause when there's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate. There's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate. This world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight for your life and reject it. You better give me space, I'm protective. My adrenaline spikes when I'm threatened. And if you stay in my way, I'm aggressive. Cause exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate. When there's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate.
Stranded in the open, dried out tears of sorrow, lacking all emotion, staring down the barrel, waiting for the final gate to open, to a new tomorrow, moving with emotion, following the light that sets me.
I think today will prove a lot of action to a lot of people.
Yeah, should be a good day today, really.
Lovely.
Nice, nice. There we
Keep it
go.
light-hearted for you.
Beautiful, beautiful.
It's just nice working a different style event. Actually, work COD. Very fun game to watch. A lot of potential for big plays, funny plays.
And what's your experience like in terms of playing COD? I mean, it's nearly a 20-year-old game.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what was your first one?
What it was.
World at War. Also mine as well. Shake my hand.
Good game.
That's a brother right there.
Oh, God, you make me feel old. Mine was the big red one.
If you want to
Oh,
feel really,
wow.
Yeah.
Oh my
Second
God.
and third one. I have to respect the
Jesus.
coverage.
if you want to feel really
Respect
old,
it.
just remember BO2.
BO2, yeah.
That's when you know you're old. When
Yeah.
you're like BO2 set this year.
Do you know, I was discussing with my friends back home, and I was like, how old were we when we played BO2? And I was like, 11. 11. And that just puts your life on a swivel. You know, there's no chance ever to come back from, you know, days like that. But Cassius, how are you, man? It's good to see you on the desk.
I'm quality, man. I'm happy to be here. I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams, a lot of different players, a lot of different action. I want to see something flashy. Obviously, people are trying to play to win. I understand that. I want to see some, snipers, few no scopes, maybe a cheeky melee kill, ninja defuse, anything flashy. I'm ready for it. I want to see it. It's going to happen.
Lovely. And I believe as well, Owen, there's some formats today.
Yeah, so we've got 2 groups of 6 teams, I believe. They'll be playing round robin format. 3 best of 3s, obviously, for today. And then tomorrow we'll be moving over to best of 5s for playoffs. Be standard sort of hardpoint, search and destroy, control. And you'd be interested to see how much these teams go about how they want to approach the best of 3s. Whether they want to hard attack one specific map, or whether they want to be evenly spread out. What do you guys think?
I mean, George, you have to lead on this one now, because in terms of the actual map pool today, I mean, we have again Hacienda returning from Black Ops 4, officially in the pool for 2025. We have maps like Skyline, maps like Red Card, very small, very, very fast-paced. I mean, close quarters combat is almost a given. And I mean, given the teams today in this round robin format, it's purely for seeding into playoffs. So why really should they focus in terms of seeding into playoffs and getting a better position here, ready for tomorrow?
Yeah. Be a big deal, I think, especially the hard points. Hard points is definitely that big mode that you have to win straight off, because S&D can kind of, it always goes back and forward, but hard points sets you the pace, you get the momentum, you get that control right off the start. And if you struggle your hard point, or if it's close, you know it's going to be a good game all the way through. And if you seem like you struggle, maybe at slow starters, they may be better in S&D, and you never know. Anything can happen from hard points, and anything can happen in S&D.
And Cassius, when we watch your perspective as well today in the format, we're going to round robin. We have a lovely sort of, 6 teams per 2 groups, and the better position you are in, of course, the better playoff bracket you're going to have to open up. Although one thing that has been noted around the sort of block today is that Team A is drastically more difficult than Group B. Lots more challenges players glittered in the Group A format, and Group B is more of a welcoming committee to the winners round 1 tomorrow.
Pretty much. Well, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of different calibers of teams here. It's going to be, every game matters, so everyone's going to be playing to the best of their ability, which I do quite like. It's going to, bring the best out of people, and it's going to put a lot of people, the opportunity to have the limelight, put themselves to other people and be like, yeah, I am that guy, I am the better player here, and it's going to be fun. I'm excited to be here. It's going to be good.
Yeah, well, one thing that I do want to touch on is the fact that it is the start of the new year, it's 2025. Rostermania running wild throughout the entire esports landscape. And so we've got a bunch of new debut rosters, new additions to existing rosters. Are there any teams that you think would benefit from the impact of Rostermania, or is it just the existing teams that have just stuck together are going to be the ones to take things home?
I think for the opening of this one, there's one key matchup in the actual pool for the whole event that is going to be, everyone's eyes glued to the screen. It's Faceless Esports versus Faceless Fruits. Originally, 2 players on either team were on the 22 Esports roster that went to the Middlesbrough Major, the Katana Spring Open, if you were to call it, and they were touted to be a top 4, top 3 team, essentially win the whole damn thing. They actually bailed out in top 12, didn't make it to Sunday, and it was a massive drama, during the actual Saturday showing of the event, and it was one of the more things that showcased vulnerability in a team that was full of rookies, full of lots of raw talent that just didn't have the experience in person. So I think in terms of Faceless Esports, we have Cruel and Luto, 2 players again that were also joined alongside Powerhouse and Zappy on the 22 Esports roster, splitting off and picking up a whole bunch of new players. For Cruel and Luto, they're with Crybaby and UH for this event, and if you actually sort of float around and look at the other rosters, one thing I noticed about Faceless Esports is that they have picked up Jumpy, and they've gone for Sage MVP, one of the more seasoned veterans in the Challenger circuit, and that's one matchup I think that we touted to be quite heated.
Well, I mean, I think we can talk about people who have proven themselves here, but I think it's even better to talk about people who've got new organisations. And I'm looking at Eclectic here, 4 debut players, a brand new organisation. It's going to be interesting to see what they can actually do to these veterans of the scene, and maybe cause a little riff, an upset. A nice little underdog story for the weekend. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, should be interesting all in all, though. We got other teams debuting, like the Crib. They're more of a surprise because...
Actually, do you know what I've heard as well, George? The Crib actually aren't here today.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
They couldn't get up to stand.
Oh, never mind.
It's too early.
The weather. But yeah, there's just... You can never underestimate new teams, because being a new team is double-edged. You've got one side, you're unknown. No one knows how you're going to play. No one knows you're going to play together, which means you could be incredibly well played as a team, or you could be incredibly out of it initially, and then you could also be just struggling like crazy to just get your footing first, and then you just have that one game when you win, and you're like, now we've got it, and it really kicks in. So, and sometimes you just see the craziest things of underdog teams beating biggest teams in the game.
Do you think as well, when you're on main stage first thing, 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning, the first match, a bit more pressure's added to the pot, guys? That's something that's always been questioned, but I'd love to explore your ideas.
Well, I think a lot of the teams are going to be very experienced working on like stages, or at least in competition itself. So maybe not a case of the tournament pressure will get to them. Maybe the time pressure will, because 10 a.m. on a Saturday, let's not always
6 hours sleep before the
that's
event.
A bit early
yeah,
for
it's not feeling too great.
But it's I expect like the tournament pressure. Like for day one, it'll be fine. For day two, maybe we start to see some teams fall under the pressure. Like especially like the newer rosters, ones that have had a lot of sort of meshes of philosophies and how they want to play the game and how they want to approach, like how much that consists through a long tournament process. Like we see Algeria Esports, like they've got 2 players leaving their original team because of philosophy differences, and so will that philosophy continue on with their new team, or will the sort of tournament pressure sort of collapse into like defaults and just standard COD play?
I think that's sort of an opening where they haven't discussed it. I think internally they're more focusing again, given the event conditions. That's sort of their driving force for results at this event. I feel like, again, in this sort of particular realm of Call of Duty, around the Tier 2 circuit, if you have more range on a day, you're just going to have an unprecedented run that no one's expecting. So I think of Algeria Esports as well, given they have 2 players already that have played at the Middlesbrough LAN last year. They've got 2 new guys coming in to complete the core 2. I think it will be quite an interesting development, but again, at face value, on the Saturday, we have to see them first thing. There's 4 stations around today, and on main stage, it is going to be Excite versus Hammer. But what's interesting as well about Hammer and Excite, Hammer, last event, they had Flame and they had Tank on their roster. They've actually opted to keep them on board to build around them 2 for this event. They've got 2 rookies coming in. Whereas Excite, they actually have a bit more of a seasoned lineup. Again, they've got 3 players that have competed in challenges for around the last 5 to 6 years, placed very well, gone to international events, competed abroad. That's the story of the 2 teams, I think, in terms of like going head to head against a team that's already played, now in their 2nd LAN, against a team that's probably in their 50th. I mean, what are the conversations to be had?
Well, I mean, it's like, it's all on the veterans of Hammer Esports to kind of like get them new people and kind of not carry them, but kind of like, have the nerves settled and make sure they're, fully ready in their mind and, in their skills to be able to compete against these seasoned pros in these, other teams. But especially Hammer Esports, first game on the day, Saturday, it's early. People might not be, fully up to it. So I'd like to see how they get, the better players to kind of like help them along. But I think they should, all in all, have it sorted between them, so it should be good.
So yeah, we've got Hammer Esports and Excite Game, and we want to get some predictions. Like, how do you think these games going to go exactly? Do we think it's going to go all 3? Do we think it's going to be a complete stomp by either teams? How do we see this going, folks?
I mean, statistically speaking, in a best of 3, usually on the first day of the event, it usually goes to all 3 maps because you're switching game modes so often, you're changing pacing, you're changing thought process. It usually is one team smashes the hardpoint, one team smashes the S&D, and the controller's up for grabs. That's always been like numerically driven around the last 10 years of competitive Call of Duty. So best of 5 format, again, we're going to that tomorrow. It's more test your might. Let's see what your map pool's saying.
Yeah, definitely. Best of 3s do bring that small bit of just energy needed, and then that best of 5's the killer for you sometimes, because it just, you can go from best of 3 after best of 3 after best of 3, and then you have to go straight into a best of 5 the next day and going, more games, and then you could try and win out in 3, but then if it just keeps going, it starts to drag you a little bit and starts to pull you and slow down, you struggle a bit, gets longer, makes it a lot harder for newer players that aren't used to it. But yeah, it's just in that sense.
Well, I mean, it's like, I would like to see it go to 3 because, you want to see all these players, play as many games as possible, get their bang for their buck and, show themselves off. But some games could go, once they get further into the day, there could be a few 2-0s, but I personally want to see more go to the best of 3. I want, I'm here, I want to see a lot of action, a lot of excitement, so best of threes all the way, hopefully.
And would expect, like, if every game goes best of 3, it's going to be a very long day. And do you think a lot of these teams would be opposed to long days, or do you think they would want this over and done with quickly so they can get to playoffs as fast as?
Usually the situation in terms of timing, I mean, the Saturday, if you prove your mark on a Saturday, given it's usually around a 16 to 18 hour day across any circuit of the world, first day of LAN, you know, the sleep afterwards is always the most important thing for players. I have a feeling a few of them might have gotten 6 hours sleep on their third coffee, about to load into the server today, which is optimal for 2 hours. After that, though, you're fighting for your life.
All right, so predictions. Excite Gaming, Hammer Gaming, who we got?
I'll go for the best of 3. I think Hammer could upset, but I will go for Excite for safety, given their experience. I think, again, the hours in the game are going to be sort of the showing of who's going to win this best of 3. So for me, it's Excite 2-1.
I think it will be Hammer 2-1. However, I think Excite takes the first map.
Well, I'd like to see Hammer. I like Underdog Story. I want to see Hammer do, you know, pull off an upset, but given the fact that this first game on big arena and there's, you know, rookies, I think Excite Gaming 2-1. Still best of 3, but I still think Excite Gaming take it.
Okay, so we got Excite Gaming as the favourites. Do you think either of these teams are going to make it all the way to the finals tomorrow, or do we see them falling short?
I think it's too early to tell, really.
It's too early to tell. I think the casters should be the ones that actually decide that.
Yeah. Right, we're going to take it over to the casters shortly. It's Major and Pablo on the first game of the day, Excite Gaming versus Hammer Esports.
Cheers, guys. Thank you, Pabs. I'll get straight to the crux of it. We're on LAN again, mate. New year, new me, new LAN, mate.
It's early as well, January. I don't even know if my voice is up to this, but yeah, proper excited, a little fat. I've already been in the toilets a few times. It's a regular day of Call of Duty.
Yeah, and as we need to go on in giving too much detail that we don't really need to give. Obviously, focusing on the game, we know quite a lot about one team. We know a little bit about the other, like the guys were saying on the desk. It's going to be a case of Excite Gaming probably are the favourite going into this one. Yeah. But how many times have we seen it where the guys are playing best of 3, you drop a map, all of a sudden it's squeaky bum time, really?
Yeah, well, I mean, best of 3, you've got to come out the blocks like 100%, 110% if you're a slow starter. And these guys will know kind of what their rhythm's like. If they know that they're a map 1, they're kind of like having to get into the feel of it. Yeah. That could be problematic. So Excite, as much as they're the favourite, this kind of pressure, best of 3, if they drop that map 1 going into an S&D where you potentially got that level playing field, it's up for grabs. And, you know, this is the first game, but the pressure on the main stage, there is an audience here. And it's not just, you know, it's all their peers, so everyone else who's going to be playing throughout the tournament, eyes on. So a little bit of pressure there, and obviously you don't want to look like a fool in the first game on the main stage, the first live broadcast for them. So, yeah, they need to come out the blocks, I think, all guns firing. And if they do that, I think Excite probably got the experience to do it. But we how many times have we seen upsets and best of 3s there to do that?
And kind of like what the guys were alluding to on the desk, the atmosphere is you're in person. It's completely different to playing online. A lot of people say, oh, it's not too different, but when you're in a game, especially when they start to get heated and they get close maps, and you kind of, some players tend to thrive off the atmosphere when it starts to get a bit close, and others can tend to kind of shy away, and necessarily the nerves get the better of them. So I think it's going to be interesting to see kind of how you've got one team who might necessarily have more reps, because we talk about how difficult it is to get LAN reps in EU, full stop. And I mean, the production, everything that's gone into this for ES Hub and the university is like nothing short of amazing. So this is literally probably as good as you're going to get when it comes to local LANs, especially because you've got everything here, all the lights in your face, all the people lined up watching you as well. So it's literally an extreme situation for some of these guys that might not necessarily have been through this part.
Well, it's the closest they're going to get at the minute to kind of that full CDL kind of experience. It's a very, I mean, you've got to hats off to the university staff. So it is incredible. They've spent an awful lot of money and it's really paid dividends. They've got 2 incredible broadcast suites and they've got a whole team of students in there doing a great job. You've obviously seen the guys on the analyst desk as well filling in there doing a great job. And then the actual setup here, we've got like full professional broadcast cameras. We've got, you can see just how awesome it is. So obviously we'll, you know, during the day I'll try and do some live vlogs and stuff, and we'll get it so that you guys can see what it looks like behind the scenes and stuff. But it's incredible. But again, that's all going to add to that pressure. And it's all about, we talk about ice in the veins, you know, Jordan, online games when it's probably not really the case. But this is really going to see who's going to be able to crack under the pressure, or who's going to become a diamond under that pressure.
Yeah. So Obviously, that team on the screen now, Excite Gaming, our boy Elmore, Chica, you got Elusive as well, and Callum Chaos on that roster. So
Understandable if you don't recognise Chica out the blocks.
Fresh trim, yeah.
He's lost his famous locks as well. We usually see him bounding into a LAN with them, but they've gone. But yeah, this is our team of favourites, I guess.
Yeah, and obviously the team they'll be coming up against in Hammer Esports, that roster is going to consist of Flame, Webby, Quinn, and Tanks. And we will hold our hands up and say, I think we may have casted a series or two over these guys, but for the most part, it's a sense of we know a hell of a lot more about Excite Gaming, but then at the same time, how many times have we cast over a team that we don't really know a huge amount about, and then get pleasantly surprised by the showing that we get?
Mate, this is what we love, though. I mean, we're not ones to kind of like try and paper over the cracks. If we don't know the players, we'll let you guys know that we're just as confused as you are. But honestly, it's usually the best kind of scenario, so that we're going to be able to see a whole host of different players that we've never really cast over before. But yeah, I do think we've kind of cast over these before, so hopefully they're going to be able to bring a bit of passion to this, and hopefully we're going to see the usual kind of flare-ups and the shouts have got to come. Hopefully all the guys in the audience. Yeah, hopefully all the guys in the audience are going to be able to bang the phones out and get some quality footage for the timeline. But yeah, we're still waiting for everything to lobby up at the minute. So we want to go over some maps, mate. You've got the list right there.
Yeah, so we've got obviously the newest map that's been added to the pool in Hacienda. We're starting to see that coming through. I've always been of the impression that players weren't too keen on Hacienda Control, but we've got Hacienda Control in this one. We've obviously got red card map 1 and then double Hacienda for the best of 3. So for anyone who isn't too accustomed to the new map, we've got it twice in this one. So
at least it's a familiar map. I mean, we've got that in our favour, but holy, it's not the most fun. I guess at least it's not hard points, so we can live with that. But yeah, protocol, nice way to start. I actually quite enjoy a protocol.
Red card.
Oh, is it red card?
Close.
Oh, man, my eyesight's so bad. We can see just how small the writing is on Shapen's paper, and I am blind. But yeah, red card. Okay, yeah, that's a. I quite kind of like that. That's all right. Red card.
Yeah, it's usually a case of that one tends to get vetoed out quite quickly. I don't think it's going to be a case that we'll see too much of it today. But now I've said that,
we'll seeing like is this a big brain strategy? Are we seeing like Magnus Carlsen moves on the in the veto process here?
Oh, we'll have to wait and see. It's like any sort of advantage you can get if you're an underdog, you take it, don't you? Even if you're lobbing stuff across the stage and you get away with it, just go for it. But yeah, the guys are just sorting out lobbies at the moment on this one. But obviously, for anyone who doesn't know PABS, best of 3 for all these group games. So it is potentially kind of an area where teams could slip up a little bit.
Yeah.
You would still anticipate that those higher seeded teams, the Avenged guys, all those lot will come through pretty unscathed when it comes to the best of 3s, especially in hard points. That's when we tend to see the higher level teams really do separate themselves from those kind of lower seed teams. Normally a decent team can run through you in a hard point, but then you can make a bit of a meal out of a search and destroy, and the other team can kind of try and switch it up a little bit. So you would anticipate in these best of 3s that for the most part we wouldn't see too many upsets, but again, with the environment, with the best of 3 sitting in, you don't really want to bank too much on it, and we're terrible with making predictions because it goes the complete opposite way.
We've stopped doing it. I mean, I've stopped asking you to plant a flag. I just don't do it because S&D just seems to level the playing field, and how often we've seen incredible sides. Just their S&D strategies are so appalling that they just get absolutely bodied, or they've relied so heavily on individual players to be amazing, which you do get at these kind of events where you not necessarily got like the most coordinated teams in at the highest level. You tend to see like great players going rogue, but that doesn't necessarily work in S&D. So it should be interesting to see how less about the results and more about how people kind of like acclimatise to a full day of best of 3s. That's going to be interesting, and obviously there's going to be some top disappointment as well. But yeah, we're actually excited to see, I guess, any upsets. Obviously, all eyes on Avenge, I think, is that kind of like higher seed team when they do hit the main stage, which I think is going to be game 2 potentially on the arena stage.
Yes, I think so. We'll double check, but I mean, yeah. While we wait for the guys to sort the lobby, we will address the elephant in the room, Pabs. The boys have got a lot of eyes on them.
You have to call me an elephant.
Listen, curvaceous, mate. Own the curves.
I'm not going to say anything about the trunk. Don't.
Yeah, no. We'll try and I'll try not to say backside too much when it comes to rotations.
Love Granny's backside.
Right then. Actually, yeah, we get to have a little look at the little trophies that the guys will have. So the bragging rights, obviously, for the most part, will go on the timeline, but then they get a little souvenir as well to take away that they can whack in the trophy cabinet as
So
well.
the folks, look, it was worth coming down for the weekend. Happy days. Let's go. Looks nice, really good, and it's nice to actually have something. That's one of the things. Obviously, we do see quite a lot of effort going into the people organising LANs, and last year the Katana Trophy was kind of exceptional, really. So
Yeah,
it's nice for the guys who do actually place first to be able to, it's not just take home the financial, but little souvenir that they can put in the background of the streams as well.
Yeah, and I can imagine. Say, for example, I don't want to jinx the guys too much, but with all with all the flack that Avenger had, imagine if there's a photo of them when they win the thing, and everyone then starts to go a bit more quiet on Twitter, because the amount of flack and the amount of eyes that they've got on them on this tournament is going to be heavy. I know for a fact the viewership on their game is just going to rocket, because everyone is going to be. It's weird because it feels as though everyone is wanting them to fail. But it doesn't make sense as opposed to the fact that they are here on LAN, because normally you would assume, right, okay, if a team is doing something a little bit questionable, they wouldn't be here, but they are. So it's kind of like a point to prove, really.
Egos in this scene, though. I don't know about that, mate. I think if there was teams, the players, solid red box and or aimon, they'd still turn up and drop a minus 10 KD. But yeah, obviously eyes are all on, and it's been all over the timeline. But listen, this is the way it is. They've got a lot to prove, and I guess a lot of teams as well. And obviously for these guys who play each other regularly, it's not just going to be that Avenge roster. There's going to be plenty of mini stories that we might not necessarily know about, and that we might see a little bit later on the timeline. So it's going to be an exciting day, and I absolutely love LANs. This is the way you get to put a face to all the names finally of everyone you've cast over. So, and obviously that causes some issues as well when we're staring at someone for time going, I don't know your name. But yeah, it should be exciting. We still got some tech issues, so hopefully we will be lobbying up fairly soon. But again, it changes tomorrow, though. Best of fives, I think, tomorrow, isn't it? I don't know if that's been 1,000% confirmed, but I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, it is.
Best of
as
fives
soon as we hit the
tomorrow.
bracket, yeah, it goes to best of five. So I think, depending on schedule, because where we had 2 teams drop out, so we've got 10 now instead of the 12.
No, Jimmy Breeze,
that schedule, I know you were upset about that quite badly, weren't you? Mate?
Brother, why? I was just like, I like it when the lads from London come up and play. You know, we get to see everyone that we've known and talked to in previous LANs that over the course of years. So, yeah, a little bit disappointed, but obviously it's a trek for a lot of teams, and I think being able to organise 4 players is not as easy. And this has been a difficult week. Elites, and you got a major coming up. That you got the Madrid major that isn't too far away. So I know Cash is always the thing. And January's an awkward month as it is. It's about 75 days long. So yeah, you can understand why it might be tricky for teams to get up here, but this is going to be a solid event anyway. And again, we've got the analysts over there ready to take us through the games when we do actually get going. But yeah, very excited for today, but really the best when it's going to be all about tomorrow, those best of fives, the gruelers, when we finally get into games that are going to be, an hour plus long. So yeah, very excited for this, but yeah, hopefully we're going to get underway fairly soon.
Yeah, well, the guys alluded on the desk, you have that not change of speed, but in terms of the longevity of the series that you're playing. Obviously, best of threes, you can be done in half an hour.
Yeah.
If you hammer a team, you can be done in 25 minutes, 20 minutes, depending on how the scoreline goes. So yeah, it is a change of kind of the pacing that you've got to kind of endure for, say, the best part of an hour, especially if there's tech breaks or issues in between, it can halt momentum. So there are slight issues that crop up that you might not necessarily think are big issues, but when you're actually on the stage and you're playing, all of a sudden your momentum goes, your head goes, and then it can start to avalanche away from you a little bit.
It's difficult in the best of 3 to get that rhythm. You kind of like fall in, especially if it becomes a lot. Obviously, if you get on the way to a game 5, you kind of get a feeling. When you've gone, you may blow out and a hard point to get your S&D, it changes in control. You get into a rhythm, and and good players can then utilise that to start getting streaks and going. But in a best of 3, it's so easy to kind of lose that. It's almost like a best of 3 for me, if you were to kind of visualise it, is bocage. You know what I mean? It's a small, contained kind of timeline, and yeah, there's so much that can happen. But let's just see what happens. Hopefully, it's going to be an exciting day, and hopefully these guys are going to come out and absolutely put a show on. I mean, that's what we want, is a show. I noticed one of the lads talked about wanted some snipers, and that's something that's not been a feature in the game for a couple of years. And I was speaking to Soup about it at the weekend, and he was like devastated again that there's no snipers. He actually did use them in a couple of scrims at the start of the season,
and then he was probably destroying everyone, and they went, let's go that.
Yeah, he absolutely loved it. He said it was so much fun. So yeah, a little bit of a disappointment there that we're not going to be able to see them kind of world star moments in that sense. So it is going to come down largely to individual moments, big streaks and things like that, which we will see because there is obviously a disparity between some of the teams in terms of skill gap. There's got the potential for large skill gap, so we should see some world star moments in terms of streaks and things like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the kind of the cruise missile equivalent on this game, I think you've got to get maybe eight, pushing 9 kills. Obviously,
think
with
you've got to
objective
get-
kills, you get it
you've got to
quicker,
get
but it's a lot. It's
8
more kills than what we're used to.
in 2 maps, and you've got to stand up and spin round, and then sit back down, and then message Activision to get the cruise.
And then it might
honestly.
work.
Yeah, they've made that so difficult to get.
Obviously, looking back at Vanguard, that was 5 for a glide bomb. See, it is a lot more of a effective streak in that you have the main missile that comes down, and then you can split it off into the cluster, and then you can potentially get like 3 and 4 kills relatively easily. But it is a very difficult streak to get now. In this game,
You've got to earn
it's
it.
very rare.
Yeah, you've really got to earn it. And I guess as well, it's interesting because when it was 5 kills, it was a very throwaway kind of. If you were at 4 kills, you might think, I might try and play my life here, but it wasn't the end of the world, especially if you're in a game where you've been picking up a lot of streaks. But at 8 kills, if you're at 7 kills, that changes the strategy of how you're going to play, especially if you've gone on a streak in S&D. That might change the way you play that round because you want to get it. Could be so important to get that streak, and obviously the same. So again, it does have quite an impact in terms of the strategy for the game, and I think that's quite interesting. Actually, I don't think Activision will have done that on purpose. They've just probably picked a random number and gone 8. I think it was 8 last year, maybe. Have we broke Codcaster yet? No, maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, hopefully we'll get to see some of that though. But it's so difficult. It's so rare. You see, I think I've only seen a handful of like 10 streaks this year at challenges level. We've seen Killy go off a few times, so yeah, hopefully we're going to see this today.
I think that's where you might start to see some disparity because of the teams. It was obviously for this one, it was first come first serve. If you get your team pass, you're good. There's no preservation for the higher seeded teams. It was a case of if you get a pass, you're here.
Yeah.
So we've got quite the disparity of teams. Some with like no pro points, some with very few, and then others pushing say 15,000, that 30,000 kind of realm. So you are potentially going to have some of those maps where you might see 13, 14, 15, depending on how seriously some of the guys might be playing the maps if it is such a big skill disparity. But it's definitely a tournament that is as it should be. If you're here first, you get in first. So we'll see how the guys get on throughout the day, whether we are going to have the passion. We are just experiencing some slight technical difficulties still. So what we're going to do to save the guys listening to us waffling on.
We are literally doing a Canadian breakfast right now. Waffles
we'll throw it to a break, and when we come back, hopefully we will have that map one on your screen. Ladies and gents, welcome back to day one of the Esports Hub LAN. We should hopefully be close to starting our game one on day one, perhaps all the ones. Hammer Esports up against the boys of Excite Gaming. Yeah, we kind of spoke briefly before in terms of favourites in this one and kind of the summaries on the two teams, perhaps. So now it'd just be good to get in and see what the guys have got to offer here, mate. Cold hands, warm hands, see what they got.
Yeah, rocking straight into a red card as well. So it's going to be it's going to really give us an idea of how everyone's performing. It's not kind of like Skyline, which is like kind of SMG heavy. This is going to be a nice split, so we're going to get an idea exactly how all the players are going to fare. Obviously, it's quite a large map in terms of its geography, so we're going to see how their strategies go, because it's not going to rely on dodgy spawns like Skyline and potential accidents and stuff. So you're going to have to actually transition correctly in order to be set up for next hill and things like that. So we're going to get to see how they break. So I guess the other thing is the players, the teams that they're likely to be coming up against as the day progresses have got a really good opportunity to see how they play these, whether they should veto certain maps. So again, if they, whatever their preferred maps are, they might find that this is the only chance they're probably going to get to play them if they do exceptionally well, especially if we see like a huge blowout on hard point or something, say 250 to a really kind of sub 100 point. That's probably going to get vetoed straight away as soon as they get into their next flow of games, depending on, obviously, hopefully the team captains from the other teams are going to be all eyes on, I guess, in terms of specifically their next games after the ones they're doing. So yeah, hopefully the lobby looks like it is going to be set a little bit, and do feel like the atmosphere is just like everyone's ready now, aren't they? They're waiting for some card. You could feel
it's like the adverts before the cinema, isn't it? Where you sit there and by the time you've eaten all your food, you're still waiting for it to start, kind of thing.
Like the vignettes come in, it's just got a little bit dark, a little bit more focused. But yeah, so obviously then coming out of the red card, we're going into a double Hacienda, which is something that I don't think we've done a back-to-back Hacienda on any kind of cast. So that's going to be interesting, a little bit of practice for us as well, but it is an old school map, so it's going to be obviously this is possibly where the team with the most experience, especially older players who particularly used to that map, as soon as you kind of like load in and you're going to hit that P1 hard, but it's all about that rotation and getting set up for spawns for P2. So that's it. We see it at a hard point, we know it's S&D in control, apologies, but yeah, so it's going to be an interesting block. For me, red card's going to be, it's a nice way to start. I think if it would have been like a Skyline, I think it would have been too predictable almost.
I think if you look at the kind of the map set, if you're the team that's kind of the veteran team or the more organised, the more structured team, you're looking at that map set and going, right, okay, that benefits the more structured team. Like say if you're an underdog team and you're looking to try and take a respawn off of a team that's probably got a bit more to it than your team does, you're looking to try and sneak a Skyline in where you can kind of make it a bit messy, try and make it as scrappy as you possibly can. Whereas a red card, and again with the Haciendas, they are maps that will punish you. If you don't manage to win those individual gunfights on the rotation. How many times have we seen it, especially towards like that back garage on red card, where some of those spawns, when you get locked in that spawn, or when you start spawning out, you're in a position where you're spending 30, 40 seconds just trying to get close to the hill, let alone break inside it. And for those upper echelon teams, where they have got the reps and they have got that core four players that have an understanding about how they're going to be operating on some of these bigger maps, they tend to see the benefit of it, as opposed to those teams who are going to just try and not necessarily wing it, but if they're a stitched together four, you're not exactly going to be on the same wavelength on every single occasion.
I think the garage hill as well is interesting, because especially for the weaker teams that they're going to be pushing to get onto it, then inevitably what happens is they get stuck in that back spawn once they finally got themselves there, miserly 15 seconds, and then they are absolutely screwed going into the next hill. Like they've got to trudge right away across the map in order to try and get set up, and it's just that you kind of like in this kind of cascade of failure then, and that's where you can really start to stack up a huge deficit in terms of time. So hopefully they're going to be able to remain competitive. We know we've said Excite are potentially the favourites in this, but I do think it's quite close in terms of the capability. So hopefully Hammer can like come at this and I like the fact they're called Hammer and Excite. We've got so many possibilities for metaphors in this game.
Exciting.
Yeah, it does look like Major. We actually are lobbying up, so hopefully we're going to be hitting red card right now.
Happy days. Well, day one, game one at the Esports Hub LAN looks as though it's pretty much ready to go with red card, hard point, and obviously Pabs, for a sense of looking to try and start a series quickly. You're going to want to kind of get that P1 up control, get a little bit of time, but then how many times do we talk about kind of the emphasis that teams put on rotating for P2 straight away? It's kind of you put the emphasis on playing for that P2 more so than the P1 and trying to get as much time as you can, essentially off of a bit of a messy hill.
Yeah, well, that's the key, isn't it? I mean, it's the same for every hard point almost. I mean, maybe some kind of discrepancies in the smaller maps in terms of geography, but yeah, for this is all about retaining the spawns for that P2 move. So we are going to be in with the flight cam. Nice control there, I like that. But you can see already teams just pushing out to try and get control of this kind of mixy P1. Obviously, it's always a bit of a war of attrition, this one. It's always about this control towards outside, and already the passion already starting Saturday morning. Doesn't matter how early it is, they just want to get on with it.
It wouldn't be a LAN in EU without the first kill when someone's screaming dead right off the rip. But obviously, yeah, the guys of Excite Gaming, they are going to be the ones that are arguably the favourite of the two teams. And as you would come to expect off the back of it, a couple of kills coming through right off the rip for Elusive. And I do believe all the numbers on the scoreboard, Pabs, are working. We've actually had a little bit of issues, but yeah, for now, it looks as though they're going well.
Did you see the latest Codcaster issue? It was 1-1, 2-3, 5-6, 8-8 or something. But yeah, it's already started to be quite the lead out of the P1 for Excite Gaming. An early 15-second start, but we are kind of like obviously very early into this P1. It's all about this control out towards goals here. And again, you know, you've got to look to this, the strategy, you know, Excite Gaming already kind of taken time off that P1 and already set up over towards P2. And this is, again, a difficult one to control. Lots of points of entry and egress here, so a good opportunity for Hammer to finally get on the hill.
Yeah, so important kills coming up here. Haku, who I believe is Quinn. No, it's not, because Quinn's number 5. It will be, I'm just quickly going through it, so that's going to be Webby, who's actually Haku, but Chica, a couple of kills coming through, and still 30 seconds worth of time that the guys can try and contest for now, but a big couple of kills coming through from Flame is just going to enable them to soak up a little bit of time. You've got those players over towards that backstage area looking to try and lock it down. Elusive's going to get one pick, but you've still got those red arrows soaking up the time. And more importantly, Pabs, you can see that they're just going to try and hold that side of spawns. The last thing they're going to want is lose some scrap time and then also lose that spawn. And keep an eye on number 5, Quinn, and alongside Haku, they are going to spawn out, but you can see that Tank's done a really good job of staying alive because he's now ready for the next hill.
That was the big question, really. There was Tank going to be able to hold that in order to be able to get through to that next hill, that garage hill we talked about actually at the start of the game, and how important this could be in terms of a money hill and being able to control it. You can already see Excite Gaming just starting to push through, and it's going to be the first wave of kills kind of going the way of Hammer Esports. So a nice opportunity for them to flip the game on its head. They're going to take the lead, 37 seconds, and this looks like it could potentially be a solid hill for them. They've got really good control, a bit of a windy shot there, Major, but looking good for those red arrows.
Yeah, so at the moment, Elusive still going strong, 4 in a row now for him. We know kind of how difficult the streaks can be. There's another one for Elusive, so 5 in a row now for him. And Excite Gaming, they have managed to work their way inside the hill, and you know those sticky spawns out the back, they are going to be the ones that Hammer Esports are going to be having to try and push out to get inside the time. And there's a pick from Callum. Everyone's dead. They're still spawning right out the back of the hill, and it's going to be a difficult one for them to break through. And more importantly, they don't have the rotation towards the next hill. Nice shots from range there from Haku, but again, Pabs, guys yellow, they're going to be set up this time after the break.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're just, you know, kind of trying to learn the lesson from that previous hill and get themselves set up. They've managed to take the majority of that scrap as well, so a good solid chunk of time. It's only going to give them 10 seconds though, so it is an opportunity now. This is probably a little bit more of a difficult hill to hold, but I think it's going to be these two players, number 1 and 2, and Elusive and Chica, with the opportunity potentially to just stop that first wave. We do see a few kills, but it's going to be Hammer Esports. You get that on the back of a Haku kill over on Elmore, so a little bit of control now for Hammer Esports, and they kind of like, we've got this kind of gunfight at the OK Corral as both teams face off over towards mid, and it is going to be a solid kill feed there in red for Hammer Esports, and on the potential to tie things up.
Yeah, well, 20 seconds remaining on this hill. You can see those yellow arrows looking to try and command a little bit of mid-map control, but it's still going to be Haku soaking up the time. 14 and 8 out of him has been a really strong start to the map. Callum on the flip side on Excite, struggling a little bit at 4 and 10. But Hammer Esports just with a little bit of a lead going in towards that bar hill. You can see that there's going to be a lot of Excite players ready to go. Tank's going to be able to get an opening kill. He gets a second as well, so now the opportunity to break in towards the new hill is pretty much there. So Excite Gaming, they had a lot of presence on the hill, and it's just been completely stripped away from them.
Yeah, slow start for Tank, but he's absolutely come into his own. Couple of kills and then nice control, and they've done well stringing 2 kills together now, and that's going to give them almost a 30-second lead. Far cry from that first hill where we did see Excite Gaming take the lead, but this has been a solid performance. And, you know, we talked about wanting Hammer to actually bring a little bit of passion and a little bit of strategy to the game, and we knew Red Card would do this, and they're actually proving it quite well. Haku, they're just trying to get the pre-fight down. There's going to be a nade from Flame that manages to take down Elusive, but those yellow arrows still pushing through. But right now, Major, Hammer Esports doing really well.
Well, Haku is the hammer at the moment. 7 in a row now for him, 18 and 8, and all those kills are going to manage to transition to a little bit of time. He finally goes down in the end, but it's going to be a little bit of scrap time that, again, they're still fighting for. Every single second counts, and the way these guys are working at the moment with a 50-second lead is looking very good indeed for them. The P1 rotation is now going to start to ensue. You can see Callum's going to be watching down that stage side of the map, but there's nobody currently soaking up the time, saying that, though, a couple of kills go straight in favour of Excite Gaming, and that might be the green light to get on the hill. Another kill comes through from Elusive, who is kind of trying to do his enemy's equivalent, perhaps. Him and Haku are kind of going at it for the MVP in map 1 at the moment. 17 and 11 from him.
Yeah, Haku, though, just absolutely flying. 19 and 10. You know, obviously we've seen Callum massively on the struggle bus here. He's a triple neg at the minute. So we do feel like if he's able to contribute even a little bit more, that might go some way to turn and Excite's kind of like P2 around. But right now, they're just about to push that 100-second mark. So an opportunity for them, P1. Not going to be easy, though. It's a mixy hill. So again, they just got that opportunity to just tie that middle area up. We can see Tank just trying to push through and get a little bit of control over towards these hedges, but he's going to get a little bit of support, but the nade is going to do that. In fact, I think it was Elmore who manages to get the kill across. So right now, Excite Gaming about to tie things up, Major. And we did say this was going to be a fairly tight game despite potential skill disparity, and it really is proven that way.
Yeah, Elusive 6 in a row. They've pretty much managed to gather about 45 seconds off that hill, just off the back of him going on a huge streak. Elusive is still playing his life as well. In towards the hill he's going to go, where there's going to be 2 players. Flame's finally going to shut him down, so Hammer going to get back on the time and push that lead out once again. But you've still got gunfights, and that kill feed goes incredibly yellow. So Excite Gaming with a little bit of early control. The spawns now out towards the backside of the hill. Are they going to realise that those spawns have come through? It looks as though they are. Callum's going to get a kill, which has been a little bit difficult for him to come by so far, and an engagement win in the back over towards Arches is going to be the opportunity now for Hammer Esports to try and get in towards the hill. They do manage to get the contest on, and they do manage to clear everyone out, so Hammer with another clean break.
Yeah, and it's going to be a surprise to them. I think they're not going to realise those yellow arrows are going to be coming up, but they are going to be pushing across to try and get ready for them. Still 12 seconds still remain on old. A little bit of scrap time going to go the way of Excite, which is potentially going to go and tie things up. I think they're probably going to be just as surprised again. It looks like the boys of Hammer Esports spawned right out, so number 7 there in Flame is going to be all on his lonesome, and it is going to be Elusive who manages to deal with them. So this is going to be a little bit of free time for Excite Gaming. It's going to be a few seconds before the Hammer Esports are going to be able to organise a kind of first wave strategy. So right now, a little bit of time going their way, 5 or 6 seconds. It's going to be a big kill there from Elusive as he takes down the kind of star of the game so far in Haku. 24 and 16 with 101 on the clock. Nice performance so
Holding
far.
all these off angles. Everyone that's trying to push in at the moment is just getting cut down by his amies. Looks as though Chica's going to be trying to watch the top side of Eskies, but the push is actually going to come from the street side here. Is Elusive going to read this? No, he's not. So Haku and Tank combined for 2. Flame drops on the side, so the push is a little bit less dangerous than it was. But Chica gets a really big 2-piece inside the hill, and that lead now that Excite Gaming have got off the back of a really big couple of kills means that they are going to just slowly edge towards that 200-point mark as we hear all the expletives being roared across the stage.
Yeah, Chica, we know he's Samson, another famous person who had his haircut and lost all his strength, but Chica appears to be stronger than ever. 19 and 19 now. He was 19 and 18, and a nice 2-piece. But again, Major, we see that kill feed go red, and an opportunity for the boys of Hammer Esports to try and bring it back. The scoreline swinging back and forth as well. You know, obviously some preferred transitions almost. Some of the teams kind of doing well on different hills. So this is another opportunity now for Excite Gaming to just stretch that lead out, hit that 200 mark, and that's potentially going to have to see Hammer Esports sit a little bit more forward, to go through the gears a little bit in order to get those picks. And I guess they're going to be relying heavily on Haku to do that. And Tank, you know, although his scoreline 17-18 suggests that he's not doing too well, he's done some amazing big kills, important kills.
Well, Elmore, big kills on the time. They've taken down, so it's going to be a one-on-one here between Tank and Elusive. If you're a betting man, the way that Elusive's been playing, you would assume at 30 and 18 he's going to be the man that potentially wins it. But no, the reinforcements coming through from Hammer Esports. But now the race towards the next hill is going to be the all-important one. Flame's going to actually catch out one player in Elmore in transition. So they are ready to go for this new hill. It's just a case of whether they can keep them alive. Callum's going to manage to get in towards it, gets a kill for one, looking for the second.
Oh,
Can't
that's
get
big.
it. Flame shuts him down, so Flame doing a really good job of staying alive on a hill that's not exactly the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, and you know, if you go back to the previous rotation, Hammer Esports absolutely owned this hill as well. That's what largely gave them that initial lead in that second rotation, and now they've got to repeat that feat in order to tie things up and potentially take the lead. This is going to be a slender lead if they are able to take all this time, but they've got to get the next wave of kills, and that's not going to be good for them. Is you get an elusive team up there to be able to take over, which they weren't able to do in the previous rotation, and that's a solid bit of scrap time if they're able to hold it. 22 seconds is potentially going to put them on the precipice of that game 1 win.
Callum trying to hold his angle. He's able to get one pick. Not going to win that second one. But now 13 seconds to scrap is going to be really important now to Excite Gaming. I don't think Hammer Esports are going to play for this potentially. It looks as though they're going to just opt to send someone in towards tickets. There's the first pick that comes through from Flame, so a little bit of control in towards this building is going to be all important as the new hill now pops again. You've got a little bit of a standoff. Nobody currently soaking up the time. Quinn's going to get back on it, so a little bit of an opportunity now for them to claw it back. We're saying that Chica gets another really big kill, and they just stop that player from soaking up the time.
Yeah, big gunfight about to happen over towards mid. It is going to be Tank that takes down Chica, so no mid control there over towards Hedges, so it's only come down to Tank just trying to make sure that those yellows aren't able to push across. He's not able to snap onto Elusive there, so Elusive able to take him down, and again, no one on the hill, so 2-2-3 blue, 197 right now, as the guys of Hammer are going to push that 200 point mark. There's going to be Callum pushing forward, who's managed to pick up the kill count 15 and 26, so he has improved considerably as the game has gone on. It is important to know to get that quick start, but he wasn't able to do it. But right now, Excite Gaming on the hill, they're not going to be able to win off this. It is going to require them to go on to that P2 to get it, but right now, Tank just missing his shots. That could be vital there as the boys of Excite Gaming on the precipice.
Yeah, that's not ideal, and look at Elusive, he's ready to go. It looked as though it was going to come down to the wire, but now they've got to try and absolutely leg it. They've got 8 seconds to touch the hill and contest, otherwise map 1 is done. I don't even think they're going to get close to this. Number 5, Quinn, is absolutely going for it down this stage side, but he's probably going to run the contest. Comes in, and they do manage to win a couple of gunfights, and they do manage to break inside the hill. You've still got Callum, who's just lurking around it. Number 4 on the minimap, keep an eye on him. Is he going to try and pinch those players that are pushing in? So Hammer Esports do get on the time, and now they're going to try and lock it in. They can actually win off this hill. They've got to hold every single last second of it, though.
Yeah, it's going to require an absolute monumental push from the remaining 2 players as we see the skulls light up from both sides. But Haku's gone absolutely monumental in this hill. 23 seconds required, 23 seconds all to do it. And I don't think they're going to be able to push it off this hill. 248 plays 229, and they've managed to hold off Excite Game and Hammer Esports, potentially on the precipice of tying things up, believe it or not.
Oh my God, well, they're all bundling in. Number 5, Quinn, he's going to drop, and you can see the race now. Number 4, number 6, Tank, Callum, they're in. There's a big gunfight on the win, and it's Hammer Esports are able to win it, but the rotation is going to be what crucifies them in the end. Nobody's ready to rotate. The experience of Excite comes through, and they will take that one off of a clean rotation towards the final hill.
Yeah, absolute work, and again, the story of that really is about consistency of rotation, which Excite Gaming were able to do, right the way through all the rotations. They managed to control some hills incredibly, and Hammer Esports did bring a little bit of passion, a little bit of strategy to that. They owned some of the hills, particularly we saw that P4 transition, P3, P4 that they did every rotation, but again, just not too much. And I guess the very end of it is the story of the whole game. They just concentrated so heavily on that final hill, they weren't able to then get across to the garage hill, which made things very, very difficult for them. But despite that, we've seen some players we haven't seen before, and Haku absolutely going off, going big for the L. It's never fun, but first game on LAN, pressure's off now, and they can go into the S&D and a little bit more of a level playing field.
Yeah, well, we didn't quite manage to catch the leaderboard in the end of it. Hopefully the producers and the lovely guys in the studio can manage to get something up so we can see it. But obviously Elusive, he was the one that had a big map on the side of Excite Gaming. If he didn't have that map, perhaps that one is not going in their favour. I think he dropped maybe 38 in the end, pushing 40 kills. So coming into your first map on your first series on day 1, dropping those kind of numbers against a team that, to be fair, we weren't necessarily counting them out, but we didn't know a huge amount about them. But the fact that they've managed to go pretty much distance in that map 1 with Excite Gaming, I mean, if they didn't have kind of a couple of ropey hills in the middle portion of that map where they were down like 60 points, they would have taken that one just because they would have had more time to rotate.
Yeah, I think that's the key. And again, it's difficult for them, obviously, to got to consistently maintain those rotations. But when you start fighting for scrap time, you are going to lose that spawn position. And at times, I felt they just weren't able to break into the hill often enough and early enough, and that's what caused them. And I think obviously the end of it I don't think it felt as close as it could have done, but because you got that 25-second gap at the end, but they just you knew that it was going to fall off, and as soon as the rotation happened, you knew Excite were going to have it. But I still felt it was reasonably comfortable, I guess. I don't know. It's easy when you sat up here watching. Yeah, but I still think it was a kind of like fairly comfortable win for them.
Yeah, so there was a really big two-piece towards the end. We were just going through for any of you guys who are just joining in on the stream and did miss any of that Map 1 action. Hammer Esports, very close, 250 to 240. Excite Gamer were able to take it. But yeah, a big couple of kills at the end, especially over towards that goal hill. Perhaps we thought for a second maybe Hammer Esports might be able to do the unthinkable, but weren't quite able to. Unfortunately, that lead was just cut away from them. But yeah, you can kind of see the kills that Elusive is racking up through the clips. Him and Hacky were really kind of going back and forth between who's gonna drop the biggest numbers. I believe it was Elusive in the end that did manage to drop the higher digits, but also managed to get both players. Perhaps we talk about players that drop big numbers, but to be fair to both of them, they also got a large amount of hill time to go with it as well, which isn't necessarily the easiest thing to come through.
And it's also a tale of just how competitive the game was. If you're dropping absolutely huge numbers from a hill, and you know that these teams are pushing consistently on, and they're also breaking that initial wave of defence when they're trying to break onto the hill. So it just obviously he's able to rack those numbers up because it was so competitive. But again, I just, the scoreline to kind of 50 to 224, I think it was in the end, kind of, it feels closer than the game actually was at times. I think Excite Gaming, if they just, went 10% quicker, or, when they did kind of get into their mode as such, I think they just look like they controlled the game anyway. But Hammer Esports, loads of positives to take from that hard point going into the S&D, and particularly, obviously, I know Tank didn't put the numbers up, but he had some really important kills to take over hills, so hopefully that kind of mentality is going to be able to push through onto the S&D.
And this is the thing as well, how many times we kind of bang the drum about you go from a hard point where one team might get absolutely destroyed in it, and then on a search and destroy, the other team does the complete opposite, and all of a sudden we tied it up again. And in these best of threes, it wouldn't surprise me, especially with how close map 1 was, if we see something pretty similar in terms of the guys trading rounds back and forth, obviously on a Hacienda search as well. Haven't seen a huge amount of it, albeit with it being the one of the newer maps into the rotation. But saying that, it wouldn't surprise me if we get kind of like a 10-11 round kind of search and destroy here. But then how many times have we jinxed a
you just jinxed
series
it
and ruined it?
Why did you it's like it's a 6-1 for sure.
Sorry, it's going to be a 6-0.
Yeah, cheers for the jinx. But yeah, I think as well what's really interesting about this best of 3 is like obviously all the maps, the 2 maps that we've got are both quite large in terms of geography. We haven't got that like push into an SMG, so maybe all the guys probably a bit more comfortable on the AR front, because I think this is where this is going to dominate in this S&D potentially. Those long sights within the building, you've got kind of like the garden on the left hand side, you've got long sights there, so these kind of elements of control that you could potentially get with an AR would be very interesting. Whether that lends itself to Excite Gaming a little bit more than their experience, but right now I think Hammer Esports toe to toe, I think they can really look at this and think, yeah, we can tie this series up.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously Elusive on the side of Excite, I assume he's kind of running that main AR role. If that's his flex role and he's dropping numbers like that, then you've got a good flex in him.
If he's dropping them with an SMG on red card, then hats off to him.
But yeah, I assume he'll be running AR going into map 2. But yeah, like you say, the important gunfights kind of in that top middle map area. We do see a lot of strats where teams try and get that middle control in the kind of the upper corridors right off the start, and it can be a sense on Hacienda where a couple of engagements in, and it's a 2v4 within 20 seconds, because a lot of the break-offs are trying to get that top control. So we'll have to see how that one goes. But yeah, how many times do we talk about First Bloods being the all-important one? You don't want to drop them round after round after round. No matter how many rounds you can clutch up, eventually it does tend to be the case that luck runs out. So
yeah, if you're getting First Bloods all the time, the chances are, like if we were able to do like a probability and like look at all the games where there's a majority of First Bloods going one way, that team's probably winning if they're getting First Bloods. Again, you'd have to be you need to be cocking your trades up something ruthless if you're in a 4v3 or in that situation and you're not winning the round. For me, what's interesting about this, because we haven't cast over Hacienda S&D, I don't think I've cast a single Hacienda S&D this season. What's interesting is whether there's going to an actual two bomb site strategy. Is there actually? Because right now for a lot of the S&Ds, it's just that you look at Vault, consistent push to A all the time, and the only time you go to B is that it goes completely wrong on A and there's a transition. So it's interesting for me to see whether there is actually a 2 bomb site strategy in this map.
yeah, you do tend to get a bit more of a split. We will actually get to see how the guys opt it, and for your purposes, perhaps you will get to see where the bomb sites are.
Yes.
So if I'll probably end up making myself look in the right tit now, but I'm pretty sure it is over towards fences, one bomb site, and then the other one over towards that statue, where you get that kind of that P4 on hard point. So looks as though everyone is in and ready to go. So if you guys did miss map number 1, Excite Gaming took it 250 to 240. They are the team in the driving seat, and as mentioned, these are best of 3s. So the last thing that Hammer Esports are going to want, Pabs, is early off just dropping rounds.
Mate, no mini-map, Colbert, let's go. That made
I know, it's good, isn't it? It's so good.
Yeah, we're going to see the boys of Hammer Esports going to be having to push over. It does look like potentially going to be kind of an A push. Now it looks like it's being read as well. Excite Gaming going to be looking to try and get a little bit of sight up top here, just making sure no one pushes and he's misread. That Tank we talked about being a player that potentially could go off, and it's Tank and Haku continuing that form from the hard point over, and that's 2 dropped for Excite Gaming, advantage Hammer Esports.
So 2v4, Callum is all the way out the back of that shed area. So he's going to plant the gun, really big win. So now all of a sudden it's 2 versus 2. Oh, saying that Callum does get traded out. Really swift trade there coming through from Flames. So now it's all going to be on the man who was immaculate in map number 1 for them, Elusive. 1 versus 2. Is he going to spot that player over towards that top corridor area? Looks as though he's not. So he's just going to spend most of his time pretty much searching for anyone who remains. Does manage to get eyes on that player up top. Oh, and he wins a gunfight. Quinn isn't able to win that one, but the main thing is he's just delayed the time a little bit more. You can see that Elusive is just trying to see where this player is going to chal it from. He's going to push down towards it, and he will lose the gunfight. And Hammer Esports will take that first round.
Yeah, Hammer Esports will do well to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory there. But Elusive, I suppose if you want one player, particularly from his performance in hardpoint, to be in that clutch moment, it is going to be him, but not able to do it. Nice reactions from Flames with the SMG then. Again, just a nice bit of control from Hammer, and we talk about how S&D can be that level playing field, and you know that you scratch that first map in your mind mentally and you just go and play this as a game 1, and right now they've got the breadstick on the board, so Hammer Esports going to be in that defensive position. So I suppose we know that some of these maps can be kind of offense or defense heavy, so this is going to be interesting to find out whether Hacienda falls into that category or whether we're going to see Hammer Esports be able to take a 2-0 lead.
Well, top control is going to be something that they're battling for here. Hacker going to close the distance on a couple of players. Oh, almost got the second Elusive. Really good work there to mop up both Flame and Haku, and he's already continuing where he left off from that hard point. 4-1 now from him. 2 versus 3 situation. The bomb is dropped though in the corner, which isn't ideal, so they're going to have to try and retrieve that before they plant it.
Yeah, it's going to be number 3 in Tank, who looks like he's going to be the player with that responsibility, and it's going to be Callum waiting patiently towards that top area, manages to get the kill, and he's going to find himself, Quinn, in a 1v3, so big job on his hand to stop parity being restored, and a good opportunity to see how he performs under pressure. Bomb is going to be planted over towards B, which is nice. We are an A and a B plant, nice. So he's going to get that first shot out, not able to get the pick, a little bit windy. And pre-fires there, he's going to back up, forced to transition and have another think, but only 30 seconds to do that.
Yeah, he's going to try and push it through garage side, which isn't going to be ideal because Callum is watching that angle. You would assume that Elusive will die here and get shot in the back. Seen him, there you go, but you would anticipate the trade, is there? And it is. So Excite Gaming going to manage to take that round, tie it back up a little bit of a come down there on that one. So yeah, 1 round apiece.
Very slidey car, that wasn't it? Slippy. just waxed.
WD-40. Oh, yeah.
It's like the world's slowest snake. Yeah. But yeah, parity going to be restored. It is going to be 1-1 and a pretty convincing kind of round from Excite maybe. So we are going to head back over to Hammer. Going to be the opportunity for them potentially. I guess this already feels like the team that's able to break this offensive kind of stranglehold might be the team that goes on to win this. It's about breaking that, I guess, going to use a tennis term, breaking the serve as such. So a good opportunity for Excite to do that, but they are going to need to do it on the defensive side.
Well, Callum's over towards top plat. He's going to get a lot of information as to a couple of these players. Chica, though, is he going to check this left-hand corner? Quinn's watching it. Oh, he gives away his position, though, but Quinn able to win the gunfight. Elmo's going to get taken down as well. Nice 2-piece there from Quinn. And that's going to be a really important set of kills there. The bomb's gone down at A. They're getting kills. Saying that, though, it's now a 2 versus 2 as Haku and Flame both drop to the shots of Elusive and Callum. So now an opportunity for Excite Gaming to maybe form a bit of a sight retake here. Quinn just shouldering, spots the head of Callum, but the team shots there, and the distraction actually that mainly comes through, and the scream of Jed does confirm that it is going to be a round that goes on the board for Excite Gaming, and a defuse to go with it.
Nice comms. I mean, you don't get to hear them, but it was clear that they were kind of pushing over towards that gunfight that happened kind of corner to corner. Nice little bit of a distraction so they can get the pick and then drop the other two. But it is Excite now on streaks, I believe, as well. So they count.
Well, they've got 2 players that don't have a kill yet.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Concaster is accurate in this one.
You
We'll
just
double
put the
check.
pad down for a bit, put your feet up. The other two.
Callum and Elusive, there you go. They've got 9 kills between the two.
And we've got a 6 streak as well on the other side between them. It's wild, crazy plays.
So we'll see where they decide to try and take the bomb this time. So the first time of the defensive side winning their respective rounds. So Elusive, with the bomb in hand, is going to go over towards that top corridor area once again, but you can see the players over towards that P4 area, and is Flame going to check this close right corner? Isn't going to see those players that are just waiting over towards Haku's going to pick up one. Flame grabs another kill as well, but now Chica flies in, and there are going to be 2 players over here. Again, that bomb is dropped pretty much in the same position as it was in the last attacking round prior, I believe, as Flame goes to join up his teammate, and you would anticipate the gunfight's going to ensue soon.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a bit of a pre-fire from Tank as they look to transition and get a little bit more information, kind of come all the way around. I think Team in Yellow just trying to get that information, but number 1 there in Flame is absolutely through round, so good opportunity for him to get a pick. Indeed, he does drop Callum Chaos, so it is going to be Chica with bomb in a 1v2, 37 seconds on the clock. I think at this moment he's probably looking to try and get at least a pick and get some kind of control, but don't think he's read this well. This is potentially a moment. Oh, it looks like he's timed this to perfection. Great work from Chica.
I wasn't sure whether one of the Hammer Esports players spotted him from up top, but they didn't. So bomb goes down. Chica just going to anticipate that he might have a gunfight.
He's not making any noise when he runs.
He's more aerodynamic.
Yeah, he's aerodynamic. Yeah.
He's going to just retreat over towards the top side of Plat. He might actually get some really good timing here if he wraps this at the right time. Nobody currently sticking the bomb at the moment. He's got to be careful though that Hammer Esports don't decide to put someone on it for the time being, and he's going to go up towards that top area. Still nobody currently on the bomb. I assume he's peeked it, and he's going to get a little bit of information of the player on his left. Doesn't spot it, does Tank, and now is he going to win the gunfight? Yes, he is. So that will be a fairly straightforward defuse off the back of that one. Nice effort, but unfortunately just couldn't quite execute it.
Oh, and the waft. It's coming through.
Yeah.
We can smell.
Yeah.
We can smell this ping ponging back and forth. Potentially, if there's no break, we're going to see this go to around 11 right now. No one really able to get a stranglehold in the game. You feel, obviously, if the guys from Excite that were on 0-0 start to contribute a little bit more, that might just put them into that power position. So an opportunity potentially for Excite to really up there. We're still at 0-4 and 1-3, so really a good opportunity for those players. Particularly, you would expect Elmo and Chica to do a little bit better. If they start contributing, this could be a problem for Hammer Esports, who across the board are all contributing really well. So right now, a little bit of reliance on Flame at 5 and 2, but again, they're going to look to this kind of top side control, and it's going to be a nade straight out from Chica. So we talked about contributions, and he's made one straight away with that blood. And then we talk about another contribution, and it's going to be Callum, who was on the struggle bus in the hard point, and he's absolutely flying in the S&D.
So 2 versus 3. Ooh, Tank's behind 2 players. These are 2 freebies. Don't want to chuckle the second one though, and he does a good job. His teammate helps him out, but Elmore there for there for the trade, and Quint desperately trying to retreat out to live to fight another day. Still going to reposition, and will manage to survive for the time being. So bomb is down. He's got to try and grab it. Oh, there's a free pick onto Elmore. So now 1 versus 1. Quint up against Elusive. Now Elusive is going to be rotating just towards... Oh, okay, he's going to run straight past him then, just because he's holding that spawn side. And he's just going to completely miss him here. So there is time for him to retrieve the bomb, but with 27 seconds left, he's got to get this bomb quick, and he's got to plant it as well, because you're going to assume that Elusive is going to check this at one point or another.
Yeah, I don't know whether Elusive is just going to hold back. He's kind of hedging his bets over towards A. So I think, obviously, this is going to be a bit of a trudge over towards B for him. So that transition about to happen as he's going to look to maybe go through mid, actually. All this rich mahogany kind of reminds me of Ron Burgundy's house. Oh, there's going to be a fight there. There's going to be a huge kill there. Hammer Esports with the win, and that's going to be the breaker save right there, I believe.
Yeah, 1 versus 2. Really big round there. And if these guys are just going to keep going back and forth in rounds, that's a really big moment there for Quinn and his team.
Well.
So the reactions, I thought when Elusive was coming through the door there, that he potentially was going to win that one off the back of how crispy he's been shooting so far today, but it will be around on the board for Hammer Esports. So 3-2 lead restored, and it will be a case of that. The serve that Excite managed to break has now gone back in favour of Hammer Esports as they're 3-2 up.
Yeah, big opportunity now for Hammer to potentially put a little bit of distance between them. I think that'll probably benefit them psychologically after that hard point loss. So again, you've just really got to look to Elmore now. He's been given the chance of taking the bomb from him, and he goes huge. That's going to be an important kill breadstick on the board, and a little bit of confidence may be restored. So right now we talked about Excite Gaming. If those two players could start to pick up kills, they could potentially look to control this, but it's going to be exactly that. That's going to be 3 Fallen, Major and Flame in a 1v4.
Yep.
Wouldn't fancy that.
If you're a betting man, you're probably not banking on Flame here, but we've seen crazier things. Just needs to engage in a simp. Just casual 1v4 on a search. Not exactly a difficult job finding it. So now they know where he is. He's probably just going to get pinned towards bottom mid. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So nice work there from Excite Gaming. And they tie it back up again, 3 apiece as we slowly go towards that infamous round 11 Babs. They don't seem to be giving much between these two at the moment.
What we were saying earlier on, these best of threes just fly by, but you had 250 to 224 in the hard point, and it looks like we're heading towards around 11 in the S&D. But we talked about the need for the likes of obviously Chica and Elmore to pick things up in terms of kills. Elmore with the first blood, Elmore with the final blood, and that game really goes a long way towards kind of like helping Excite. And again, really difficult one to read this because you know, now the players are starting to pick up kills. You just do not know. I wouldn't want to plant a flag again at this point, especially with the way that obviously Flames playing 5-4 and Quinn now the kind of kill leader in the game in that sense. Callum Chaos has just pipped them at 7-3. So yeah, this is going to be a crazy S&D. Just to be interesting to see if there's one player who can maybe start to take a hold of this.
Well, Cheek has managed to slip through the net here. He's managed to go towards the back of a couple of players. Callum's actually going to nade himself. I don't know whether it was a nade that was thrown at him that he tried picking up and throwing back, but he's gone. So the work there from Chica is only going to even it out to 3 apiece. And the bomb on the side of Hammer Esports is just over towards that A side. They haven't decided to plant it as of yet. Tank is just toying with the idea of getting down. Chica lane prone though is going to get spotted by Haku, so nice work there from him. And now as they look to try and get a bit more sight control of A, the main person they're going to have to keep an eye out for is Elmore, but now he's round the back. He's going to surely get the guy on the bomb as well. He spots one. Oh, he doesn't spot the man on the bomb, so he's going to just get away in the time just about. And now 2 versus 2, runs into another, and a really big kill from Elmore, who now 4 in a row has decided to spawn in.
It's like elusive as he taking a break. Just like Elmore running around getting the kills, elusive kind of right out towards kind of back garden side, and it's going to be a huge moment from Elmore there as he goes absolutely off in the game. And we talked about needing to make a contribution. Well, hats off, mate. Take a bow right there, 5 in a row.
Yeah, so well, him and Callum was the main guy kind of numbers at the start, but now you're looking at Elmore, 5 in a row now for him, and the other guys on the team, Chica as well, they're all contributing now to what has been a couple of rounds back to back here, so nice work from those lads. And at the moment, if they just keep contributing the way they are at the moment, Pabs, you do feel as though they will just keep notching rounds on the board here, because they are just grabbing back-to-back rounds, and this might be the first bit of momentum that we've kind of seen in this Search and Destroy.
Yeah, I think as well as interesting is because we're obviously at LAN, we can actually see how calm and relaxed the players are, and the guys of Excite just seem fairly chill, having fun, 4-3 right now. And obviously the players that started off pretty slowly in this have started to pick up. So Hammer Esports really got to kind of have a mid-game regain now. This is where you really need to lock in, and you've got to win your gunfights, and the first blood's going to be all important for Hammer Esports right now.
That's a really good stunt from Elusive. He gets a lot of information, can't get the kill, but Elmore, there's another one for him. 7 in a row as he gets a second as well, and they are chewing through them now. Wow, okay, well that's the quickest round we've seen so far, and that is the most convincing lead that we've seen so far. Now Pabs Excite Gaming look as though they've got their strats pretty much nailed down to a T now, because they have absolutely ran through them, that one.
Well, we were saying before the waft to come in, but obviously Excite Gaming decided otherwise, and largely on the back of that Elmore Callum Chaos kind of duo ship right there, they've really started to come to the fore in terms of their dominance. And this one we talked about, a player taking over the map. Well, Elmore on the precipice of potentially doing that. So 5-3 right now. Excite Gaming on the precipice of taking the first series in the arena matchup on the ES Hub LAN January 2025. So Hammer Esports with it all to do on the precipice of finding their first loss of the day.
Tank with the bomb. Nades around him, doesn't tag him up though, and Chica again is using it as an opportunity to use an unorthodox route. Big first engagement though, Callum's able to get one, and Unfortunately, his teammate in Elusive does fall, so it is now a 3 versus 3. Hammer's going to run into another gunfight. Callum's going to go down over towards that fence side. So the bomb has been dropped over towards there. The RCXD's out, but no kill comes of it. So it's now going to be a 2 versus 3. Excite Gaming, just that man down, but Elmore again going on the hunt for more.
Yeah, it's going to be Tank as well, who kind of was huge in the hardpoint, but 3 and 8, so it is going to be down to Haku, Quinn, and Flame. They have got a man advantage, so opportunity now to really get that back to a 1-round deficit. A little bit of information there. Flame goes to the punch, and the bombs go out, and that's a big kill on Elmore as well. Chica on his lonesome in a 1v3, and we're going to see whether the power of the haircut really comes through to the 4. Right now, he's going to push through. That bomb's going to go down. He's going to be potentially met with a volley of red arrows. So he's going to go for the defuse. Oh, and it's been red, and he's been taken. Hammer Esports bring it back to a 1-round deficit. We might still get it. We might still get the round 11.
Well, it looks as though we were slowly getting towards the
That's such
conclusion
a
that
move, by the way.
side has racked up back. Huh?
That's such a cheeky move, by the way.
Yeah, cheeky move from Chica.
I suppose if you're Hammer and you know Chica, you're instantly thinking he's going to try and ninja that.
That's the thing, as soon as that bomb goes down, if you don't get any engagements on the site, there's nothing really stopping you from just seeing if you can have a go. So
some nice flight cam though, beautiful.
Yeah, the old free cam. So shout out to the observers for the beautiful views. But now Chica, bomb in hand, he's going to be working his way over towards this A site. This is the nade I think that worked before. Isn't going to get anything from it on that occasion. Quinn just scouting the top side of mid to see if he can see anything. And Chica gets the information onto Tank. He's got to be careful not to get pinned back a little bit here. He does have reinforcements next to him. This first blood's going to be really, really important though for them here. And there's going to be the first one for Callum. 10 and 5. Elusive's going to mop it up. This might be the end of this one.
Yeah, Hammer Esports in a really tricky situation. They're going to need to get a pick very soon. Those shots a bit windy, but it's not going to be enough as Chica takes down Tank, and that's going to put Quinn in the unenviable position of trying to save his team in a 1v2. It's not impossible, but he is going to need to get a kill fairly quickly. 43 seconds on the clock, and those yellow arrows just on the hunt right now. Number 2 in Quinn is just looking for a little bit of information, just waiting over towards Rock for any movement really.
Yep.
Elmore picked up bomb, so this transition could actually ensue in an interesting gunfight.
Well, it depends on the timing here that Quinn gets, whether he turns around at the moment that Elmore decides to try and peek it. I assume he's going to plant it from the side, that he's not going to see him. Oh, is Elmore seeing it? Oh my god, he's going to see the man on the bomb. Oh, whoa, a little bit windy. Isn't going to get the kill, but they've got to try and stick the bomb here. They've only got 10 seconds to plant, otherwise they've lost this round anyway, so they're going to have to try and protect Elmore. Elusive has got the job of keeping him alive, and they managed to do it. Excite Gaming take the round, and we've got a few players standing up and Excite Gaming take the series 2-0.
Yeah, we kind of said at the top of the game that we thought Excite might do it, but Hammer really did bring the passion to both games. 250 to 224, I think it was, in the red card hard point. A really tight game in the end, and then 6-4. Back and forth up until we got to that kind of like 3-all, and then it really did become an Excite game once Elmore started to get those kills and go absolutely huge again. Callum Chaos going from a hard point where he wasn't particularly impressive, and then absolutely dominating in the S&D. So really impressive for Excite game, and it's nice to get one under the belt this early in the day on the main stage as well. So all those kind of like day one jitters out the way. Nice win, but obviously for the boys of Hammer, they've got to now go on and try and improve on that. But really great to see, really great stage, and nice really competitive game for the first series.
Yeah, so we will see a couple of the clips from that search and destroy, but Excite Gaming are going to take it 2-0. Not exactly the comfortable 2-0 that we might have potentially guessed at the start of this one, but yeah, Callum really brought kills coming through from him, especially at the start of the game. It seemed as though him and Elusive were pretty much doing all the heavy lifting, but as you mentioned, Pabs, as soon as Elmore and Chica started contributing with kills and first bloods, it was very much a case of Hammer Esports had their work cut out in that instance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can see on the board there, we've got like Elmore who's 0-4, and if you just keep that in mind when you see the kind of clips towards the end and just see the contribution he made in the latter part of that S&D, it's absolutely insane. He's nearly in the agency, and you know, then you consider that he absolutely goes off once he starts contributing. Obviously, there's one game. Did he get an ace or was it the 3? I can't remember if he got the 3 or the ace.
3.
But he obviously goes absolutely huge, and you can see 7 and 5 from an 0 and 5 position is just an insane kind of contribution. And I suppose if you kind of keeping it tight on the back of just 2 players, once the other, it's got to be great when the other 2 players start contributing, and you just got a feeling that you're going to win the game.
Yeah, So yeah, confirmation 2-0 to Excite Gaming. But obviously with the stations that we've got, obviously we're on main stage pabs where the guys have all the lights shining in their faces. But it's going to be a case of the next game isn't exactly going to be a short break, because they're going to go straight in towards the Passion Pit where the other stations are.
Yep.
So they do manage to keep that momentum going.
Yep.
Going
Stay
into
warm.
other series as well. Yeah, exactly. 'Cause
Stay locked in.
Cold hand syndrome. You don't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we've got Mission Magpies up against ICG Takeover in that next game on main stage. So what we'll do, guys, is we'll throw it to a quick break, and when we come back, we will have that next game on your screen.
Everyone could break my heart, but I try my best to not fall apart. And I find it hard to let go. The memories keep me together. Gotta fight till the end, no pressure, no pressure. And I find it hard to say no to the ones who want something better, to the ones who never say never. You'll be my pleasure. I got nothing to be scared of, because where people live, there is always love. I know the answers in my heart, so I'll try my best to not fall apart. And I find it hard to let go. The memories keep me together. Gotta fight till the end, no pressure, no pressure. And I find it hard to say no to the ones who want something better, to the ones who never say never. Will you be my pleasure? I know the answers in my And I find it hard to let go. Memories keep me together. Gotta fight till the end, no pressure, no pressure. And I find it hard to say no to the ones who want something better, to the ones who never say never. Will you be my pleasure? Look.
all, cause now we know that we can take it. We face it all, cause we go big or we go home. Dance like you made